I'm back in the cupboard, as you can see. Not anything permanent. I've not been naughty or anything like that. But I'm back in the cupboard for this one. I'm filming this yesterday. I'm getting ahead of myself for the old lunchtime uploads. You know, just trying to think ahead. Up there for thinking, down there for dancing. He took a bit of stick, didn't he? But the hat. You want to know about the hat? Okay. I'm sure many of you know, for those of you that don't, the tash, the hat, it's all because of the Newcastle game. I'm going dressed as a Peaky Blinder. We're doing this to raise funds, which we've raised, and thank you to everybody who's donated, by the way, for a defibrillator machine for the boats, following the sad news about Dan, who unfortunately had a heart attack, a cardiac arrest on the boats, passed away, and we're getting a defibrillator, make the boats safer, make anywhere in the Olympic Park that's surrounding the boat safer, named and in honour of Dan, who was actually mentioned in the matchday programme for the Sheffield United game. So anyway, I'm going dressed as a Peaky Blinder. So the hat's arrived. Not bad, is it? Not bad. I've got a coat, and that's the coat. I'll show you a picture of the coat. Fine. Coat. I like the coat. The coat's nice. But I bought a shirt, and I've not bought a shirt in years. And so I was going on old sizes. Well, yeah, you know, that's you know, all the old sizes, I thought they would still apply. Well, as you can see from the picture, the old sizes still don't apply. Literally, after I took that picture, as my wife messaged and said, how's the shirt? After I took that picture, literally a button flew off, bursting at the seams. It's because the shirt is tight, not because I eat too much, you understand. So here we are. So I'm just going to do a video now. So I'm not going to speak anymore about clothing, but you'll see this in the review and any pictures from the Newcastle game, and I'll be doing the review and the instant reaction in a Brummie accent, because I'm going in full character. Richie's sending me a bow tie. I think he might have sent it. I've got to pick it up tomorrow. Broke my own rule. I did speak about clothes, didn't I? Anyway, that's it for now. Following our review of the 1-1 draw against Sheffield United on the main channel, lots of comments. Quite a few of the comments were saying, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that? Oh, that's good. That'll keep me going for the week. So anyway, here I am, doing tomorrow's video today. Or as far as you're concerned, doing today's video yesterday. Now, the first comment is from somebody called Stephen White. Now, I mentioned we were slow. I thought we were slow. Particularly slow once Anderson went off. No precious little pacency, man. Stephen White said, slow. We're like tortoises with a hamstring injury, which is obviously a very, very slow tortoise indeed. Julian Steele had said, I feel the same about Pellegrini as I did after Moyes. I've seen his teams and I'm not satisfied that he's the man to make us into a big club, which is obviously what Pellegrini talks about all the time. Andrew Wickstead had said there was no pace, there was no urgency in this team. It's all too slow. The tide's turned. I was going to say it's turning. I think the tide has very much turned. As I say, this fella has come in for a lot of stick. 45 million quid. When we can't buy anyone in the upcoming transfer windows, this guy will be used, not because he was 45 million quid per se, but because of the fact that it's been spread over 18 months. We tend to like to spread our payments over 5 years. So that'll be used as a reason why. But look, you know what? If you think he's useless and you think he's slow, you should see Maxi Gomez. Look at the guy we almost got. I'm still of the mindset with this fella. You've got to give him service. Why buy a striker if you're not going to give him service? If what you want to do is you want someone to work hard, to run the channels, to be a bit of a workhorse, so to speak, then don't go and buy this guy. If that's the guy you want, there are other strikers who better suit that purpose. Because this guy came from Frankfurt and he played in a 3. And a very, very good 3. One of the best 3s in Europe. Not only was he used to having one player next to him, he was used to having 2 players right next to him. To share the load. And they terrified defences. Well, you know what? On his own, with no one close to him, he doesn't terrify defences. He's not the guy that is going to dribble past 5 players and score the goal that we saw Payet score, for instance, against Middlesbrough. That's not his game. He needs service. You need to get people around him. Because you give him service, then he lays it off and he plays it in. He's a target man. Target man needs to knock it onto somebody. He needs to lay it off to somebody. Look at his assists so far, if you can rustle those up in some way. You'll see he knows how to pick out a man. Good player. But it's not the first time. And I'm not going to lay all the blame at this for this at Pellegrini's door, by the way. We also had the same thing with Chicharito. Chicharito came in, and you very much got the impression that when you bring a player like Chicharito in, you know what you're getting. He's a fox in the box. He's a poacher. He's very much a finisher. Everybody knew the stat. He'd never scored a goal from outside the box. So we brought him in, and we played him. When Bilic was in it, he played him on the left wing, pretty much. And it didn't work out. So he got frustrated. I just thought, what's the point in bringing in Chicharito, one of the best goal poachers? He played for Manchester United, played for Real Madrid. I think Mexico's top scorer, scored goals at every level and lots of them. You bring him in, you go and play him on a wing. Buy a winger. Just buy a winger. But I don't think they wanted a winger. I think they wanted a striker. But it's almost as if they got him through the door and thought, well, hold on a second, this is not the player we wanted. Well, why? Have you not done your homework? Have you not scouted? But it's a familiar thing. When Pellegrini came in, he said he was excited to have Chicharito in the team. Well, again, he couldn't do anything with him. Moyes, Moyes had already jettisoned him at Manchester United, hadn't he? Moyes wasn't a fan of his, and that much was clear. But he did use him a couple of times. He brought him on as subs, and he scored off the subs bench. In fact, Hernandez's goal to minutes ratio at West Ham was very, very good. But nobody trusted him, I felt. Nobody wanted him. Maybe he was a bit of a luxury player. Maybe they want a striker to track back. I know it's weird with that one, really, because I've seen it go from everybody playing 4-4-2 or variants of it. Partnerships. I remember lots and lots of partnerships. I'm not saying 100 years ago, not like when this cap was made or whatever. I'm talking, Shearer and Sutton and Andy Cole and Dwight York. And for some of you very young, you probably do think that's donkeys years ago. But it's almost as if every team had a strike partnership. At West Ham, I remember I particularly enjoyed, we were struggling. Harry Redknapp went out and bought John Hartson and Paul Kitson. Lovely, lovely strike partnership there. Worked really well. So we've gone from losing 2 strikers, I don't mean just us, I mean football as a whole, to now playing 5 in midfield. Everyone wants to swamp the midfield now, don't they? And play with 1 striker up. Well, okay, those are the tactics. But now we want that striker to defend as well. So anyway, maybe that was the reason that Chicharito wasn't trusted particularly. So we bring Haller in, and we don't play to his strengths. And people are getting frustrated with him. And I can understand why people are getting frustrated, because we get to this point now and everybody is wondering what's happened. And what has happened is we're exactly in the space where West Ham tend to be. This is West Ham territory. In fact, we normally get relegated more than we have done at the moment. But to be sort of mediocre and to be losing to teams like Sheffield United, like Oxford, but beating Manchester United, that's very much West Ham. Being booted out of the cup, that's very much West Ham. And we find ourselves in a situation now which is very, very familiar. But because not everybody, but because many, I think, maybe bought into the dream, maybe bought into the suggestion that moving to the Olympic Stadium would propel us to the next level, people are asking, well, what's going on? And people are looking for scapegoats because people are unhappy. And I'm one of them. I wasn't up for this. This wasn't a reason for moving from Upton Park. What we're doing now, we could have done at Upton Park. Exactly this. Just the same. But people are looking for a scapegoat. People are looking for reasons why. For some, it's Haller. For some, it's Felipe Anderson. Seen some people having a pop at Mark Noble earlier on today. But Pellegrini is bearing most of the brunt of it. Justified? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, if you're asking me, I think bearing in mind his wages, I expect a little bit more, I've got to say. I think if we just had a run-of-the-mill manager, then you're sort of looking at it and you're thinking, well, okay, we are sort of in a West Ham type position. But bearing in mind, I think we've got the 3rd highest paid manager in the league. That or thereabouts. I might, if I'm wrong, I ain't wrong by much. I expect a little bit more than where we are. For moving stadium, I expect a little bit more than where we are. And when you look at Crystal Palace nabbing a draw with Arsenal, when you look at what was I talking about? What was I thinking about? Leicester, sorry, that was it. Leicester 9-0. Oh, I know Southampton had a man down, but 9-0 for Leicester. When you look at that, I just think, well, why not us? Someone had to be us. Surely that was the reason. I don't know. Bit frustrating, a little bit frustrating. And anyway, I'm gonna record Tuesday's video now. Tomorrow's video on Sunday. I'm gonna go through the list here and start reading through the questions. And yeah, I mean, people ain't happy. People ain't happy. It's gonna be a very, very interesting week in the world of West Ham. Anyway, enjoy your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Or for me, I'll see you in a minute.